Alrighty, we got some filming in the background, but hopefully you can hear me and follow me. So we are, you should see, there we go. I have to do it in an angle, otherwise it's gonna slide down, but we are like about more than a half as far as the size of volume. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a nice shot, but it's hard. Sorry, we're more than one time up over here. So it's initially the volume was here, we're double and a little bit up. So I am pretty happy with it. You can definitely go more than this. I've seen people taking the bulk fermentation, which is this phase of the fermentation where the dough is in a bulk, so it's not being split. I've seen people taking this step up all the way up to 3 times the size of the initial volume. This is a little bit more than double, as you can see. Not that kind of guy, so if you find like a very strong flour that can allow you to do that, or maybe you can find, one day you mess it up and you leave it out for way too much, but it never really worked for me. So I think this is the best, around 2.5 times the volume, the initial size, sorry, it's the best. And what happened is this one was in the fridge until, I'd say probably like 3 hours ago or something like that. And it was about a little bit more than a little less than double the size when it was in the fridge still. I brought it back out. Of course, the dough went back to room temperature and the rising was much faster, right? Because in the fridge, everything happens at very slow temperature. So I'm just gonna dump it right here, and I'm just gonna use very, very little flour. You wanna make sure that you just use a very, 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 very little amount of flour to do this, to just dust, we're saying. I'll dump it down. Try to be as mindful as possible, even if it's very hard because it sticks a little bit, but you see how good it was to have these containers being well oiled. I have to split this one in half because I'm planning to do 2 trays, but you can adjust the proportions on however you want. I'm just gonna make it, I think, 2 trays of this, but I'm just gonna like roughly draw a little line in the middle of this, and with a spatula I'm going to go down and then try to detach it. This is gonna be very sticky, so that's why we put a little bit of flour. But here it is. This one looks just slightly bit smaller. I can cut like a little piece. Now we need to shape this, and with shaping, it can get a little tricky. There are multiple ways of doing it. As you see, I'm taking it from the bottom and kind of like stretching it out a little bit, right? Then I'm gonna like flip it like this in half. Put this one right here. So you see there's the seam right here. And then trying to create some sort of tension while doing this. This is very hard because you have to be good at not overhandle the dough too much and not degas the dough too much, but you also want to be firm enough that you got, like a tiny little loaf, basically. And when this is ready, I'm just gonna put just a little bit of flour underneath over here, and I'm just gonna stick it in my container over there. Just gonna do it again. See, I'm like pinching it and I'm putting it back here and kind of pinching it down. And then I have like a seam underneath over there. So again, I'm back over here. And this is done until, well, I'm planning to bake actually in I would say like 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours. So that should be like a pretty light, handling, and I didn't force too much of the surface tension, sorry. If I wanted to bake later during the day or even tomorrow, I would have tacked those loaves a little bit tighter, and then I would have put everything back in the fridge. And then when I was ready to bake, I would just basically take those out and shape them into a focaccia. But since I'm baking those right now, I'm just gonna let this rise at room temperature, which will take about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours, depending on the room temperature in your kitchen, and also depending on how tight you actually tie those. As again, I just did not do like a very very tight fold, tight shape. Sorry, just because I wanted to bake them fairly soon. And yeah, what I'm shooting for as far as the loaf is about double in size as rising. All right.